Hello, I am John Carson, the Technical Integration Manager for Precision Landing within the NASA Space Technology Mission Directorate. In this video, I will provide a high-level overview of NASA's technology development strategy to safely and precisely land payloads across our solar system. This chart summarizes the capabilities that NASA is prioritizing to enable landing of payloads anytime and anywhere, regardless of lighting conditions. We are developing these capabilities to reduce mission risk for the landing itself, as well as for the surface operations time required for astronauts or robots to reach science targets. In addition, these capabilities will help with the safe aggregation of resources for missions that require multiple landings. Some of the challenges to our envisioned future are provided on this chart, followed by some high-level descriptions of the prioritized capabilities within the strategy. What are some of the challenges? Currently, we do not have a general capability for safe and precise landing away from Earth, with the exception of some inroads toward it on our recent Mars 2020 mission. On Earth, we have the Global Positioning System for precise navigation. We also have the ability to put pilots on board or to remotely joystick autonomous vehicles because of very short light time delays. Our terrestrial systems also have high degrees of controllability due to significant onboard propellant, as well as just higher levels of controllability in Earth's atmosphere. There will be no one-size-fits-all solution to these technologies for every human and robotic mission. These missions will all have different requirements. For instance, retrieving samples on Mars will require landers to touch down safely and precisely within tens of meters of the cached samples. Human missions will target landing within 50 to 100 meters of pre-positioned surface assets. Missions to Europa will require high robustness to the extreme radiation environments of that system, so requirements will differ. Some missions will also have very well lighted terrain and not require active sensing technologies such as LiDAR for doing safe and precise landing, whereas other missions will target landing in shadowed or unlit regions of terrain. This chart provides an illustration of the status quo for entry, descent, and landing versus our envisioned future for precise and safe landing capability. The top chart illustrates the status quo of the sensors used to softly touch down spacecraft onto the surface. The status quo has no information about the global position of the spacecraft relative to a landing site, so effectively the spacecraft lands blindly with only the ability to softly touch down. Whereas within a precision landing and hazard avoidance system, the onboard capabilities enable intelligent diverts, very precise navigation, detection of hazards on the surface, as well as the divert around those hazards to ensure a safe and soft touchdown. More details on what each of these phases entail are included within the descriptions of this chart. The state-of-the-art in EDL is the Mars 2020 touchdown of the Perseverance rover that accomplished the smallest landing footprint to date. Of the many EDL technologies that enabled this, the most notable is Terrain Relative Navigation, or TRN, that used a camera to capture images during descent and compare them to orbital reconnaissance maps for position localization. TRN enables precise navigation to a location within the landing ellipse that was deemed low risk from detailed hazard assessments of the reconnaissance maps. Where do we go from here? One next step for TRN is the development of an active sensing system, like that which would use a LiDAR, to enable TRN over unlighted or heavily shadowed terrain. Additionally, for missions that require the avoidance of small hazards that are undetectable in reconnaissance maps, a mission will require the onboard inclusion of a high-resolution mapping sensor to detect and then enable avoidance of small hazards to ensure a safe landing. What is the overarching development strategy within this envisioned future? Our goal is to not only develop and infuse these capabilities, but we also want to transition them into the commercial marketplace. We want to develop the next generation of commercial off-the-shelf technologies for guidance, navigation, and control, that can be brought to bear on the challenge of safe and precise landing. Our approach to accomplish this goal is to leverage our subject matter experts, our private partners, our academic partners, our high-fidelity simulations, and our other data sources to make sure that we're making progress toward the closure of our identified technology gaps, as well as to help us identify new and emerging gaps for new classes of missions. We prioritize the development of cross-cutting capabilities to ensure that we have paths to closure of broad gaps to accommodate human and robotic missions. We also vigorously pursue the transfer of our technologies to ultimately ensure our commercialization goal for the capabilities that we are investing in. This chart provides a visualization of our technology development strategy and approach. It illustrates our knowledge base and how we leverage it to inform our projects and programs in the development of low and mid-TRL capabilities, followed by their transition into industry via our technology transfer program. This also illustrates our use of the SBIR program and other solicitation mechanisms to foster public-private partnerships for both spin-off and spin-in of commercial capabilities into our knowledge base and into our focal projects. This chart provides further detail on the approach to develop the various capabilities in our envisioned future. Included are details on highly controllable entry systems, the sensors and computing hardware that's behind terrain relative navigation, hazard detection, and velocimetry measurements, as well as the algorithms and processes used to support both precise navigation as well as safe landing. The maturation approach for many of the capabilities also makes use of extensive testing paradigms available within the agency and from commercial space. The transition of all these capabilities also makes use of many different solicitation opportunities as well as partnership mechanisms, as expressed on this chart. NASA has several focal projects across the agency that are developing technologies toward the envisioned future. The SPLICE project develops sensors, computing, and algorithm technologies to benefit safe and precision landing capabilities. The LunaMaps project is developing general mapping processes and tools that can be leveraged for terrain relative navigation maps. The PSI, or Plume Surface Interaction project, is modeling and validating plume surface interaction models for use in safe landing. And the Europa Lander concept project and work on the Intelligent Lander System is working on safe and precise landing technologies that can survive the harsh radiation environment of Europa. All of these technologies have broad applicability beyond the moon, beyond Europa, and have infusion prospects for other mission targets. The transition and commercialization of technologies for safe and precise landing are a top priority in the strategy development approach. The SPLICE project provides a solid example of this prioritization, where some of the focal capabilities are already leveraging COTS components, others are in process of COTS transition, many are already licensable, and some are in early licensing stages. This chart also provides deeper insight into how the SPLICE project is implementing some of the prioritized capabilities as both standalone components or as part of an integrated system. A notional timeline for the current project investments plus commercialization and solicitation targets are provided on this high-level Gantt chart that covers the focal capabilities within the strategy. Prior development and transition milestones for the strategy are shown. Future flight tests, potential spaceflight demos, infusion missions, and strategy evolution assessments are also indicated. The prioritized capabilities were selected based on ongoing assessments of technology gaps in safe and precise landing that came from our NASA field centers and subject matter experts, as well as from our engagements with industry partners. The highest priority gaps are highlighted here alongside a mapping into the current focal projects that are addressing aspects of these gaps. The highlighted colors indicate current investments that are on track to closure of gaps, plus investments that need to be sustained or on-ramped to ensure gap closure. These gaps will evolve. New ones will be added and others will be retired or revised as progress is made and strategy feedback is assessed. The logical next steps in the strategy are summarized with the same color coding for current versus future investments. The current project approaches and the prioritization of commercialization are key toward accomplishing the envisioned future. Follow-through and targeted testing and demonstrations support the technology maturation and spaceflight infusion, and maintaining and evolving the strategy are equally important next steps, with the necessity to on-ramp future investments that have been identified, as well as to continue dialogue and partnerships across the agency, academia, and industry to both revise the strategy and on-ramp further future investments. In summary, the priority of this strategy is enabling safe and precise landing capabilities for broad classes of missions, with infusion and commercialization being the overarching goal. Our approach to success will be the pursuit of cross-cutting technologies, sustainment of government, industry, and academic partnerships, and the leveraging of technology transfer programs and solicitation mechanisms. This final chart provides a convenient reference for the many acronyms that were used throughout the package.